is going to show you your weekly featured solo Grandmaster Nightfall on a Arc Titan caster frame sword build. The surges and the GM is Sunless Cell, Arc Surge, Strand Surge, Void Threat, champions are only Unstop, and a couple of the GM mods not worth mentioning. Okay, so for the caster frame, let's get the elephant out of the room, the caster frame situation. You should be farming up Temptation's Hook. It's a very powerful weapon in the game now. In actual fact, caster frame swords are actually power creeping standard swords like Guillotine and stuff like that because of their utility from range. You can essentially just use these and spam these. The ammo efficiency of caster frame swords is extremely high now because of the buffs over the years. But there's something funky going on with Temptation's Hook, and I see that people are confused ever since Sutek soloed the Prophecy on Ultimatum. People have been confused since then on what exactly was going on. And what was going on is, number one, a Whirlwind Blade sword on Temptation's Hook is what you want because there's some tricks with it. Here's trick number one. Power of Ambition adds blight rounds to your weapon. This will give you increased stacks of Whirlwind Blade quicker. The stacks seem to be stacking quickly. I haven't tested it side by side with or without, but it is noticeable while you are playing. Not only that, the blight rounds are counted as weapon damage, which means you get more bolt charge stacks. So think of this as like Lemon Arc, but in a heavy sword form and its arc. Relentless Strikes isn't really needed on this. Just get a Temptation's Hook with Whirlwind Blade and you're good, and then put Power of Ambition in, and that is all you need really. I've got Swordmaster's Guard, I had Enduring Blade on. Like I say, it's fine. Just as long as you've got the Whirlwind Blade, that is the minimum requirement. Now, if you can't for some reason get Temptation's Hook, here is the alternative. Ill Omen. Now, Ill Omen is also a caster frame sword. It's a stasis one. Bear in mind it's going to do less damage in this GM because there's no stasis surge up. Is that right? Let me just double check this. Yeah, it's Strand Surge. So Ill Omen will do less damage for you in this GM. Not only that, you cannot apply the new modifiers, the Taken modifier, Power of Ambition. You can't apply this mod, the Blight Rounds. So that will make Ill Omen worse by default, but it will be a close second. And it'll be very good. Now you can put Relentless Strikes on it. I haven't really tested this sword, and I'm going to test it a little bit more over the weekend to see if Attrition Orbs is viable with this sword. But what I will tell you is, go and craft Ill Omen in the meantime, and until you get Temptation's Hook. Ill Omen's worth a craft anyways, because it's just a good sword anyways. Yeah? So there you go. That's your alternative to Temptation's Hook. But try to go for Temptation's Hook. It's easy. Just go to Eris's Flat, hand in the mats. There you go. You've had the information. Okay, other weapons I'm using Choir of One with Onslaught. Definitely go for Onslaught with this. Don't craft it with anything else. If you craft it with anything else, I think you're throwing a little bit. Onslaught should be on for most people who take Choir of One seriously. Now I'm using a Kinetic Tremor primary. I done a run with double special glaive Choir of One, and it didn't work out as good for me personally on a ammo sort of run. So my run for double special was 29 minutes, 29, nearly 30 minutes. But when I put a primary on, my run was 26 minutes because I had more control over Choir of One's ammo, even though that we've got Dreadful Finisher, I know. But Dreadful Finisher's not given much ammo back towards Choir of One when you run double special. You get plus 13 or something. It's not very good on the double special. So I decided in this run, let me run a super regenerating perk like Kinetic Tremors. Yes, it regenerates super very quickly. It's very good with Bolt Charge, and it's just good as a backup damage weapon when Choir of One ammo is depleted, maybe. There's a lot of tanky VIP targets in Sunless. So that's what I ran with, and that's why I didn't run a glaive. You don't need the glaive. This build just destroys anyways. Although glaives are very good in Sunless, but you can do without it on this build for sure. Okay, so you've had the weapons. The artifact mods are there. Not going through it all. They are the artifact mods. You've seen it, pause it at the timestamp. Like I said, it's with Simpercept, there'll be a dim link giving you that. But other than that, that was the build information. So as we start the run, the first goal of the run is to kill the unstop and move on. Move forward, you don't need to kill all these acolytes. It's just kill unstop and then move to the next room. Good place to kill the unstop. Well, he's somewhere to pitch up with a barricade. You know, so he's really nice. Get a barricade down first. Whip out the sword. Flashbang grenade. Caster frame sword. I'll do it twice. That's fine, and it just melts him. I can either do it like that. So my rotations can be caster frame sword, quieter one, or kinetic tremors. I've got options. This build is very versatile on weapon-wise, at least. In terms of like, do I want kinetic tremor damage? Do I want quiet of one damage? Do I want caster frame damage? Ideally all three if you can. But most unstops will die before that. We get a seismic strike, then caster frame, then whip out, quiet of one, and then we melt. It's very burst heavy. It's very good for burst damage, this. Then we're just going to melt all these acolytes with onslaught there. Honestly, if you look at quiet of one gameplay with onslaught, it looks like you're hacking. Yeah, it does. Honestly, it's melting ads like we did in the crafting era. Quieter one is just nasty with onslaught. Yeah, and it's basically it's killing ads quicker than a machine gun would when onslaught is procced. So yeah, it's just nuts. It's probably the best special weapon in the game right now. Is onslaught. Is quieter one. It definitely is. I don't see any. I mean, Lord of Wolves is good on that, better on a CQC basis, but you know, even then, like overall utility, Quiet wins as probably the best special weapon in the game right now. It definitely is. So this unstop, I can't finish him. Bungie, please allow me to finish. If you were paying close attention, you would see the finisher icon on the champ is not showing up. So I don't know what it is with this GM, but champs are delayed to be finished. The icon is taking too long to pop up. It must be a bug. Let me know anybody else who's experiencing this issue. Kill the second hive unstop, the one I did. Just kill him. That's what I recommend. You can skip him, but I just kill him. Right. Now we're going to use a super here. My seismic strike did not stun the unstop, so I've lost damage here. And I'm doing a bit of too much damage to his shield. So this wasn't one of the best supers from me. I've done this unstop far better in the past. I'll stun him with a flashbang. Just finish him off with the sword and get a proc ward, finish a kill. So yeah, I was weak, but I wasn't like worried because I knew I was going to get a proc ward over shield, which are very powerful. You basically can't die. It's very rare to die. You get immunity frames as well with finishers, which I think people never tell you, but you should know that. When you're finishing an ad, you get immunity frames. I don't know the exact details on it on the tech side of things, but I do know that it's very unlikely when you're finishing a target to die. So use proc ward is basically the tip. So we'll clear out the 3 wizards. The 4th wizard at the entrance does not need to be killed, only the first 3 wizards. Then I'm going to skip. Ammo check. Coming out of that room, if you want to do a bit more ad clear, you can, to fill up on a bit of heavy. Because having more heavy later on is very beneficial, because you can absolutely do incredible amounts of damage with this caster frame sword. Same for quieter one. You know, do a quick ammo check. I mean, it's risk to reward sort of thing. I'm not too fussed because I know I'm going to get plenty of ammo later on in the run. Here we go. Here's the skip. Quieter one is so quick on the blight skip. There's no other weapon that's as quick as this. I've done a lot of tests over this over the last 2 months, as you well know from my Sunless cell runs, and I've used loads and loads of weapons on these blights, and I know for sure in this, quieter one is the quickest for getting rid of blights. This is unique to Sunless cell, taking down the blights. It's probably a bug and unintended. That blight trick that you've just saw does not work in Prophecy. The Prophecy blights are different to GM blights. I don't know why. I'm just telling you, I'm here to tell you why that is. or the situation. I don't know exactly why. So this is a good skip. I didn't need to pop super. Generally I do, but I didn't because I was amplified and a lot of the ads ignored me. So I'm going to pop a super in this room. And you want to check, is your subjugator a Bane, yes or no? Chances are he is a Bane, but he might not be. If he's a Bane, he has 35% more health and he's a bit of a nuisance to your run. But don't reset because of that. I see people reset their runs just because they get a Bane on the subjugator. It does cost time on the run, for sure. It's probably 3 minutes extra because he's that much more tanky. But don't reset. Just get on with it. You know, have a bit of backbone. Just fulfill the run. That's fine. I don't mind getting him as a Bane, because if I didn't get him as a Bane, somebody would say, oh, you didn't have him as a Bane, I did. Even though they might be lying to me, because people do lie to me. They might be lying, I don't know. But I like this because then I can say in the run, look, my subjugator was a Bane, so there's no excuses for you. If he's a Drain Bane, alright, it's a bit more difficult. But any other Bane's fine. Zealous is even fine. Any Bane at all. But Drain is a bit of an issue. If it's Drain Bane, stand here. Plan B protocol. Stand at the entrance. Now look at this damage here from the sword. The sword does incredible damage. I know it doesn't look that impressive right there. That's because this subjugator's got 1,000,000 health. But honestly, the sword is really good for damage, and it just gives you more ball charge stacks. And it stacks Whirlwind Blade very quickly because of Power Ambition. With the Blight rounds. I'm going to use a super because I've got it to use and burn. Problem is there's no ads for Synthocept. But that's fine. We'll take it and just super anyways, because we're just going to build our second cooldown. Now I'm going to come here and then do a bit of sword damage. Now, if your subjugator is a Bane, I recommend you clear all the ads, because if you clear all the ads, the next set of ads spawn in. That is the trigger. If he's not a Bane, actually leave the ads up and then kill the Bane. So there's two different ways of doing this. But I'm saying if you get a Bane, you're better off actually just, I mean, maybe build a bit of super energy before you take the 2 phalanxes, because the phalanxes are the trigger. If all acolytes are down and you have 2 phalanxes left, when you kill the 2 phalanxes, that triggers the next spawn. If you leave phalanxes up, the next scenario will not spawn in. That is your trigger. Because a lot of people get confused with Sunless Cell. They don't understand this. Ad spawns. I've heard people talk. Oh, ads should be spawning in next. No, they'll spawn in when you take all the ads. Once that's fulfilled, you will get another 2 phalanxes that throw teleport shields at you. So also another condition, I guess, is getting the subjugator quite weak. So getting all the ads down and then getting the subjugator weak. So I get a barricade here. The subjugator is a 3rd HP. That's good. Because we're on it. That's decent. Oh, there's 1 acolyte left. So yeah, watch. Acolyte is killed. Boom. There's your next wave. But that's good. Because we have a chance to proc Synthocepts. Now I get a flashbang in middle. I get my super. So I'm going to use it. His biotic enhancements is proc. There we go. So now I'm just going to super this subjugator. And it's obviously blinding him as well. Because Fist of Havoc blinds. So we get some decent damage. That guy's going to be finishable, but we need to clean up this wave now. So I'm going to get a barricade down here. And then just spam choir because I've got plenty of ammo for it. So it's just all choir damage at the minute. That's what's so good about choir. When you're in those situations where there's a lot of ads pushing you, just whipping out choir and doing the damage, yeah, we'll just clear the room. That's what's so good about it, the accessibility of it. So I'm going to opt to generate some super energy and kill the wizard on right. There's an unstopped middle, but I haven't got a super for him. I have got a seismic, not a blinding flashbang though. So I'm going to strategize a little bit. Try and get a stun with seismic. Although the subjugator has done his move. If you do not have a glaive on and the subjugator does his ice move, you need to move. You need to map rotate. So now what I'm going to do is, oh, my sword hit my barricade, that's unfortunate. What I'm going to do is farm super energy off this champ. which I can totally do that. Because he's finishable anyways, so it's actually beneficial to not finish him yet. Well, not sort of stun him, that's what I mean. Because look, my concern is not the unstop at all. They're very weak. It's the subjugator. I want to get rid of this subjugator because he's a meteor. There we go, get super. Now, the next goal is take care of the wizards. Maybe get some finisher kills. Although I melted him before I could. That's fine. My special arm was actually really helpful. Healthy. Just get this champ finishable. I need stun him with my abilities because I want to use them for the next phase. There we go, he's finishable anyways. I get some heavy ammo, that's good. Some void acolytes in middle, just melt them with choir. That's why choir is so good in Sunless. Because there's loads of void overshields. Right, we're going to manage this phase. Get a barricade up and a flashbang blind. And you're going to kill all these ads, but maybe leave one knight up. Collect some ammo, think about the next phase, because the next phase, if you optimize it, it's really easy. It can be hard or easy. Which one do you want? Make sure you've got a barricade. I'm generating super energy. This is strategy. I get a finish kill on both champs now. Watch this trick. I've showed it before, I'll show you it again. Trick number 1, step 1. Don't look at the champ. Think about it when you were at school. Don't look at the teacher. Out of sight, out of mind. Look, he hasn't a clue. Advanced techniques. We can then DPS the ogre from back here, allowing us to isolate DPS on the ogre away from the ads. Look at this. It makes this room way quicker and way easier. But like I say, this is nothing new. I've known this for ages. I developed this strat 6-7 weeks ago. However, someone find out how many weeks ago it was. It was about 8 weeks ago or something. Whenever it was. I don't know when it was. But look, this strat's really good, really easy. We're going to get a super, which I'm going to melt this ogre first. Look at the amount of damage we're doing with that, with the sword and choir and everything. There we go, melt our ogre. Now, you need to clear out some of these ads. You can't just run through. The condition is, I think, to get the knights. The scions are not a condition for the door. The acolytes and the knights are, but the scions are not. Weirdly enough, I don't know why. But don't just run through yet. Think about your ammo. So we're full special. I've got a heavy brick middle. There we go. Look at that. Nice. So that's really good. Being, like I say, known in advance for Shrieker Room that I've got max special, max heavy, and we're at 12 minutes. That's really good. Whereas, like, you say if I had 30 sword ammo and 100 choir, I'll be thinking to myself, yeah, this might slow the Shriek Room up by a few minutes because I've got less ammo. You know, so that's what I'll be thinking. But because I've got max ammo, I'm good. Okay, see the melt there? So the caster frame is very good for Shrieker Room because it melts the Shriekers. Because you get quick ball charge stacks and the blight rounds, it blights them. Now watch this, I'm a caster frame king. Look at that. I'm a caster frame expert. Take down the Shrieker, there we go. And now we need to organise and deal with the void shields, which I'm going to get a barricade down and then start doing Choir of One stuff. In my opinion, this is probably the best setup that you can do for Choir, for Sunless Cell. It's probably easier than Warlock, it's easier than Hunter. I can't think of anything that's easier. Maybe Dragon's Breath's a bit more useful for people, and I've showed you how to do that. So maybe, yeah, maybe Dragon's Breath's a little bit easier for people, but this is really easy on this setup. I had no issues with it. I had more issues actually running double special on this setup. Not issues, but what I would say the run was slowing up. Like, at Subjugator Room, I would run out of Choir of One. I'd be doing Dreadful Finishes, only getting plus 13 for Choir, which isn't good enough. And that's because your special bricks are halved between two specials. You know I like double special weapon loadouts, but I'm not a massive fan of double special loadouts on glaives. When we're rocking a glaive, I prefer a primary to back the glaive up. This is a playstyle thing. For double special loadouts, I prefer Eridinal GLs with Choir, they work. So Lost Signal, Choir works. Rocket Sidearm, Choir of One works. You know, that sort of works better for me. But like when you're using a glaive and then Choir, like I say, I used it and I wasn't a massive fan of it. So I was like, you know what, I'm just using a damn primary because I want all my special to go into one weapon. Don't be fooled by when people tell you that, oh, you know, expert. A sign of an expert player is if they use double special in PvE. This is completely false. And the amount of players that I've seen in LFG run double special and they die or they don't know what they're doing is an incredible amount. So don't link double special loadouts to high IQ players. This is actually false. Although there are certain players, especially when they're speedrunning, with double special loadouts with high IQ on them. That is absolutely something. But we're not talking about those players. I'm just talking about your everyday player. Me running a primary in this case is far better because I can manage. I can spam more Choir of One. Essentially, I don't need to manage ammo as much as I would with double special. Now both unstops have pushed me, that's good. I aggroed them in middle with a super. That's what I wanted to do. Well, generally only one aggroes, but both of them did. I'm going to clear out the full room. You can skip and do this quicker, but I'm not doing that. I want to showcase the caster frame I want to showcase the loadout more on the Shriekers, so I'm just clearing the full room out. I'm not skipping. There's a knight alive. I was got to be careful there with that. Those knights can pull you, so you got to be careful. Because I haven't got a glaive on. So that is one. There's one or two cons to the run. Because a glaive can guard against some of these attacks. Which it can, for sure. But if you're knowledgeable enough with Sunless Cell, it's no problem to get round that. We'll just finish off this captain here. There's a second one. Oh, this is the second one here. This is close. He pulls me into the wall. So yeah, that was actually, I shouldn't have risked it to that much, to that degree, but that's fine. He pulled me into the wall basically as I strafed him. Okay, final Shrieker. Ammo you do not need to manage too much because there's an opportunity to put a flag in. Yeah, so you could technically waste all special and heavy. I mean, don't waste all special and heavy because you have got another champ to kill. But yeah, like with how economical this build is for ammo, it's only 4 ammo for a heavy. So here we go. Let's show you damage from a distance. So the blight rounds are going to stack Whirlwind Blade. Look at the stacks. I'm just going to spam it back to back, see what that does. It's doing nice damage, and I'm going to involve a bit of Kinetic Tremors, a bit of Choir of One. All of the weapons I have on are good for single target damage, and that is what Sunless Cell is revolving around. It's single target damage. There's not many other GMs that are like Sunless Cell. Like there's not like a Taken Warden or a VIP that has lots of HP points. So when you're speccing for Sunless Cell builds, think about single target damage. That's why Lucky Pants Hunter is so good in this. I've already showed that off though, Malfeasance. But just all single target damage is really good for Melting Unstops, Melting VIPs, because there's loads. When you think about it, there's quite a lot. Now I've come up here. I like coming up here. Now I stunned him with the flashbang. I'm just going to kill him. Look at the damage, unstunned damage that is. That's unstunned damage against a champ. That's incredible damage. Because if you don't know, unstoppables have a larger health pool when they are not stunned. So if you're doing incredible amounts of damage to a champ that is not stunned, that automatically means your loadout is incredible for damage in general. It passes all tests just by that alone. Now I've got full ammo. Minus 20 on Choir of One, but I don't care about minus 20. So I'm just going to skip. Pop super if there's a Drain Bane. There could be a Drain Bane there. But yeah, I've got full ammo, no need to flag. But I could super and then flag. If you want to super the ads, then flag, by all means. But if your ammo is really good, then you don't need to bother doing that. You can just skip like what I just did. It saves time on the run. Okay, I'm going to stand up here, see if I can caster frame the boss. You can't. Well, you can, but it's awkward. Because I'm standing on like a pointy object, caster frame swords make you move in the animation, so I'm falling off it. So I was like, oh damn, I can't caster frame him. That's unfortunate because I wanted to show it up there. I think I try it again. I mean, I can stand up there to do kinetic tremor damage and ball charge damage. I'm thrown here a bit with my jumps. It's an awkward point. You sort of slide off it. Just be careful though that the boss doesn't... He won't one-shot you, but he obviously will two-shot. There we go. Finally we get up. Damn. So I'm just going to opt for damage. Require then. This will actually stop the boss from TPing. He will stop teleporting. He will be less likely to teleport and your damage is quicker, look. If I could have jumped up quicker, then it would have been. So look, you can even deal with the wizards up here. I'm going to deal with the Bane up top. Now I'm going to super. Because I know that my super will deal with 2 of the wizards, but not 3. It won't last long enough for 3, but it will last long enough for 2. So I melt 1 up top. And then I super the second 2 with Symphoceps. Remember, Symphoceps buffs Fists of Havoc. If you don't believe me, try this without fists. You will find your experience is much worse. Because I have tried this run without Sympos. It's just not as good. And being not as good on a solo GM is quite detrimental to new players. Yeah, like to me it's no big deal. I could just run something else and I'll be able to make my way through it. But to somebody new, no chance. It's detrimental. If we tell them the wrong build, do you understand how the negative effects on a new player that is? It's unfathomable. It means that they will quit. They are more likely to put the game down and go and play Warframe. They are more likely to put the game down and try out the first Descendant new season. So, you know, it's very critical, especially for other content creators as well, for those who are watching me. It's critical for you lot to get your stuff right. If you get it wrong, you understand that there's new players knocking about now for Edge of Fate. If you get it wrong, you're messing up their experiences in their homes. Think about it. They could be coming home from work, they have 3 hours to play. You've told them about a build, a rabbit hole. You've led them down a rabbit hole and they've said, hang on a sec, this isn't working. I watched this guy's video, he said he did. Screw that guy, I ain't watching him again. That's what they would say, right? Foolproof yourselves. You need to foolproof yourselves and your loadouts and be honest. Now this build's really good. I know I got weak there, but Quieter One's really good for taking the wizards and the caster framers as well. Leave the Fire Wizard up. Do not kill the Fire Wizard. The reason being is because you want to take the Thrall and the Curse before you do that. This just makes it a bit better. Now don't stand your ground with these wizards too much. If you're not using a glaive, you've really got to have that movement on point with them, but the caster frame does melt. Look at the blight rounds. It actually sort of... The blight round seems to do something else. It seems to overload them as well because it is an overload mod. So not only is this sword doing blight rounds, it's overloading targets. But there's no overload champs in this. So you can't really see it. I have to do a different GM with overloads to see it. But it does stun overloads. I've seen it in the past. Okay, we're doing some advanced techniques. You don't have to do this. I'm just seeing how the boss reacts. If you emote, look, the boss does not shoot. He's curious, but he didn't shoot me, not once. Then I can pop super. This doesn't look like a big deal, but it is. The reason why is because it gives the chance for the room to settle down and for the ads to group up. If you can group ads up in a favourable location, it means that your super will deal with all of the ads, the champ, everything. So do not use super on wizard phase, on the wizard phase that we just had. If you super wizard phase, you probably will fail unstop phase. Probably. You're probably going to die. And if it's a Drain Bane, you're definitely dead if you don't have super. If you have a Drain Bane and you've got super, you will survive it. Definite. But it comes down to you having to pop super early. If you hear the noise, the audio cue of a Drain Bane, you pop super. no matter what, to save the run. That's how you get round that, because you might get a drain bin. Now I'm just doing damage. Look at this damage. We're just doing damage. Caster frame, kinetic tremors, Enquire of 1. Just doing damage behind my barricade. My barricade tanks all of this boss's attacks. So I'm just going to keep doing damage. I'm waiting for the ads. The ads are coming in. Yep. I'm going to use a flashbang. I've saved a flashbang for that. Look what the flashbang did there. It's dealt with all of the ads. It's blinded them and it's set off the blights. Now I can go back to damage. Damage is really easy against this boss. Look at just how easy it is. It's really easy. Like, I don't need to be wandering the streets. I don't need to be out after midnight. I can be doing this midday, 3 p.m. and it's fine. Now I'm doing damage there. Second phase of unstops, you need a super. You will get the super off off the boss damage. You will use Fist of Havoc again. This is way better than T-Crash. Look at how good this is. T-Crash is a T-Crash needs. Fist of Havoc is Fist of Havoc needs. They are both tools. You need to recognise when you need to use said tool in certain activities. In Sunless Cell, Fist of Havoc is overwhelmingly far better than T-Crash. On Arc Titan. So we're just using all my sword ammo. The boss is weak. I'm just going to start spamming Choir now. Hip fire attack. Because I've got loads of ammo left and the boss is nearly dead. You need to manage your positioning with him a little bit though. I haven't got a barricade there, but that's fine. We're playing around him in middle. We're using the pillars. The boss is one shot. That's a Solar GM with a caster frame sword build on Arc Titan. Try it out. Try caster frame swords out with this build. Temptations looks the best though, but if you haven't got it, then use the alternative that I mentioned. That was a run on this. Hope you enjoy. Thank you.